Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new video. Welcome back to the Robbie Basel show. I'm filming this on Monday. I'm back home just for this episode though. But it's been an incredible weekend. Apologies for no video on Friday. A lot was going down on Friday. Also shout out to everyone who watched the game I did on Saturday. It was incredible end-to-end contest. The broadcast for me, I thought was so much better. I was very pleased with how that video went, but no, at the end of the day, it went really well. The team was great. Charlie was awesome. Hopefully, maybe I could put some highlights in here or something, maybe the best calls of the match, but who knows? Quick updates before we start the video today. First of all, topics. We got Premier League, we got F1 being chaotic yesterday and throughout the weekend. We had the World Series end. I'll finally give my thoughts on the World Series a week after it ended. And much more from the NFL and a bunch of other breaking news that happened because I'm filming this on Monday. And there's two sets of breaking news that happened within about 45 minutes of each other this morning when I'm filming this at about 10:55 in the morning on Monday. So hopefully you guys are all locked in, ready to go because you're going to hit the like and subscribe button. But one other thing, Friday's video will be the announcement of things that will be changing. Now, I will announce this change. The edited videos for the next month will be not as many edits. Additionally, there won't be as many videos necessarily on this channel. It's gonna go likely from 2 a week to 1 a week, probably only on Fridays. For now, at least that day could change as well. There's a lot going on for me. But we're really the team I'm working behind the scenes with, not just with this channel, but for the other channel that I will be a part of and will be announcing on Friday. We are all ready to go, and we're just waiting for the opening announcement and for me to announce my part. But just letting you know, it is a significant change to this channel, and there will be other things that will be revealed on the opening couple of minutes on Friday. It will be massive, and that's all you need to know. It is major changing. I can't even speak on how insane this is. But big changes coming. Friday will be the announcement. We will be opening with that on Friday. So hit this like and subscribe button so you guys do not miss the open. It's ideally going to be Friday. If it doesn't happen on Friday, it's coming very, very soon. Featuring some new things that I hope you guys will enjoy. So once again, hit the like and subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. Also, ball knowers happened today. I'm filming this, like I said, on Monday, so hopefully the video is absolutely insane. Because last week, on the video, we made Cam explode, and I still feel horrible for that. It was partially my fault. We all know, chat. We all know whose fault it was. You guys will probably blame me in the comments. But yeah, just as an idea, comment what you think will happen on Friday. Will I wear a suit? That's another question. Should I wear a suit to that? Like the blazer, like the cleanest fit possible. Should I wear that on that video? Should I stream that video? I don't know. I'm trying to come up with like multiple ideas for how I want Friday to work. But I don't know, honestly. But yeah, that's all I'm speaking about on Friday because we're not revealing what the new project is. We're just revealing that's on Friday. And hopefully that video will be out. I had an idea of a time for that video, but honestly, I have no idea. So the video will probably be in the later afternoon on Friday. But make sure you follow my Instagram at rbasel_11, as well as the Robbie Basel Show Instagram, so you guys do not miss an update via Instagram. for the uploads. So that would be greatly appreciated as well. Getting close to 60 followers there, which is really cool if y'all can hit a follow with that. It's actually I will start posting there more. I said I was gonna do that like last month, but it's been so busy for me with ESPN, my internship and everything. So that will start ramping up again, hopefully soon. Um, but yeah, that's all with the updates. Let's get into the beginning of the breaking news. Before we do that, let's go over the game in question that led us to the breaking news. And we're going to Newcastle upon Tyne, St. James's Park, Newcastle and Arsenal. And it ended with what I was going to talk about this on Friday, but of course there wasn't a video on Friday. How this is a trap game for Arsenal. Newcastle entering this match has only lost 6 of their last 42 or 43 home matches at St. James's Park, and they beat Arsenal again. It was a 1-0. Alexander Isak scored. Arsenal were not able to get a goal for themselves, and it ends by a 0-0, putting Arsenal out of a Champions League spot. Never in my wildest dreams would I think Arsenal would be pushed out of a Champions League spot this early in the season. But, oh my God, I mean, Arsenal have lost 2 of their last 3. They only lost 1 of their first 25 Premier League games in the calendar year. They've now lost 2 of 3 to Bournemouth and Newcastle. And they've also lost successive away matches in the league for the first time since May of 2022. The Arsenal struggles continue. They've been plagued with injuries. But that's not a time really for excuses for the Gunners. They've had multiple chances. They've had struggling pieces throughout the lineup, and it shows. They're unable to go out there and grab a goal when they need it. But the big worry for me is the lineup right now. If you look at defensively, they were able to return William Saliba back in their cup match against Preston in the middle of the week. But you have Thomas Partey at right back. We have playing 4-4-2s. That's not how this club is supposed to play. Let's look at the Arsenal injuries. Martin Odegaard still out. Calafiori still out. Like, those are 2 significant injuries in the midfield and the back line. But now that midfield, it hasn't really felt connected. And that's one thing that Arsenal need to fix. They have Declan Rice. Mikel Merino has been okay. He had that banger goal from a couple matches ago. And he's been all right in the center of midfield. But Martinelli on the wing, Saka on the wing. They just haven't been as good as advertised. Trossard trying to play an attacking midfielder or a striker. That hasn't been as ideal as you would like. And Newcastle able to, by using their 4-3-3, able to push up the field and cause problems after they struggled against Chelsea last time. So big win for Newcastle. But then this morning, it was revealed that the sporting director, Edu Jaspar, will be leaving the club, and he'll be joining it's something with Nottingham, which we have to talk about them as well. Because what is happening to Nottingham? Oh my goodness. So here's the news. So Arsenal director Edu will join Marinakis Group, coordinating Nottingham Forest, Olympiacos, which is in Greece, Rio Avenue, which is Portugal, and potential future clubs. After early decision to leave Arsenal revealed earlier today, Edu's now set to complete move to the Marinakis Group. Ambitious project at Nottingham, Olympiacos, and more clubs in the future, with Edu as the key figure. Edu was, of course, the one who started bringing in all the young players. He's been the sporting director at Arsenal for a couple of years now. He's done really well at Arsenal. I hate to see him go. I know fans were complaining that he didn't sign a number 9. I'm interested to see who they replace him with because I'm kind of scared. By the way, Edu also won a Golden Boy as the best young director. Yeah, he was as just best director. My apologies, my correction on that. It's gonna be really weird to see him go from Arsenal. I'm interested, like I said, to see who they replace him with. But now fans are calling for Arteta's head, and I'm gonna be honest here. I don't know why. Yes, they haven't been able to get over the mountain and dethrone Manchester City yet, but the injuries Arsenal have had. Yes, they've struggled in some big games. Newcastle, they just lost to Bournemouth. Like, I get why, but I don't think it's necessary. The real way we'll find out how good Arteta really is when his injury-plagued squad hosts Chelsea next week. As we're heading closer to an international break as well, right afterwards. We have one league match, then we're back in an international break again. And not to mention, they have Inter on Wednesday. So this injury-plagued group will continue to have to play significant matches against Inter and then Chelsea before playing a rising squad of Nottingham Forest, who I'll be breaking down in just a moment. Big situation for Arsenal. They've had injuries across the back line. They've not looked connected as well. Constant turnovers in the back. Trossard has not looked himself last couple of weeks. The complaints are starting to ramp up for Arsenal. Yes, I can fully attest to that statement. They need to find a statement win. They blew it against Liverpool. They blew it against Bournemouth after the red card. They lead the league in red cards. That's a stat you do not want to lead. They blew it against City 2 months ago. They almost blew it against Tottenham. They blew it on deadline day against Brighton. Remember that. That was back in August, which is crazy to me to think that we're already at November 4th or November 5th when this video goes out, and we're still talking about the same problem. Not to mention, it's almost done with the fall semester for me already, which is also another statement that's crazy. But Arsenal, they've gotten their first significant win was Aston Villa in match day 2. They've beaten Tottenham, but they haven't had another significant win in the league all year. And they needed to turn it around, and they need to turn it around fast because Manchester City and Liverpool are flying. Oh, wait, hold on with that statement. Let's go into your other matches on this incredible match day. And we are going to go into, if I can pull it up, a crucial match from Saturday. Another incredible why is this not loading? This is when you know you're in a bad situation. With Liverpool, who struggled in the early stages but were able to pull a win, courtesy of Cody Gakpo and Mo Salah in the 70 and 72nd minutes to pull away and eventually beat Brighton. Brighton, who have been a tough out all season, it feels like, were leading for the majority of the match, but were unable to come out with a win in the end. Other big results on a crucial match day 10 in the early stages. Ipswich Town get another draw. They got a red card but draw. Leicester, Southampton finally get a win for themselves. They went out and beat Everton, which is not the craziest win ever, but it's a win. Aaron Ramsdale clean sheet, 1-0 to Southampton. Wolves and Palace played the most Wolves and Palace game ever. That game ended 2-2. And then we get to subject number 3. Nottingham Forest? Yeah. How about Nottingham Forest, man? Nottingham Forest, who I believe have won 3 in a row after drawing Chelsea. This club lost to Fulham, by the way. They were in a run in around early September, where they just came off beating Liverpool, and we were all shocked by that. They then followed it up by dropping points in 3 straight. They drew against Brighton, they lost to Fulham, and then they drew Chelsea, which is a fairly respectable result. It's Nottingham Forest, for crying out loud. They've now rattled off 3 straight wins against teams they're supposed to beat if you're even thinking about putting them in as a contender. They've also outscored opponents 7-2 in their last 3 matches. And because no one at the top wants to win a match, Nottingham Forest, who've lost 1 game all season to Fulham, are in 3rd? Yeah. How about Nottingham Forest? Let's talk about Nottingham Forest. They've had so much go their way. Let's pull out the numbers. They just went out and beat West Ham, outshooting them 19-4. Incredible. Listen, this Nottingham team, I think I projected them to be a bottom half club. And I think, let's look at that real quick. We'll shout out Dylan real quick. I thought I was going to sneeze. Sorry about that, chat. Back to the Premier League predictions. I had Nottingham in 15th, and Dylan also had Nottingham in 15th. So right now we would both be making a we would both be making statements about freaking Nottingham Forest. That's absurd. They have done so many things right. And they have had so many players rise up to the occasion. How about this team? Can I pull up some stats from them? Can we get some stats, please? No? Cool. This is insane. I don't have my iPad, obviously, here on the road, but Nottingham Forest stats. Let's take a look. Their leading goal scorer has 8 goals, and that's Chris Wood. No one else on the team has more than 2, and that's only one player, and that's Callum Hudson-Odoi. The only other goal scorers, and it's only 4 of them, have 1. That's Aina, Yates, Gibbs White, and Sosa. They've had so many other players not go out and grab goals. Awanini, Willie Bally, who's usually great in the air, but they've had decent plays in the playmaking game with Anderson and Alanga. How is this team in 3rd? I don't understand. A club that's been really weird throughout the season and have only lost 1 match, and that's the difference. They've only lost 1 game. They've had better significant wins than Arsenal because freaking Nottingham went out and beat Liverpool and drew Chelsea. Like, that's great. It's a fairly respectable result compared to Arsenal, who has significant win is worse, but their draw is just as significant, if not better than Nottingham's, which is very weird that we're comparing the two right now. But where am I trying to get at with this? And my point here is very simple. We should not overreact to the recent success of Nottingham Forest. Last year, we had a club very similar to how Nottingham has started, and then they fell off and finished in like 11th. I don't remember where they finished. Where did they finish last year? Where did this certain Hammers club finish last season? They were okay. They finished 9th. They didn't finish 3rd. They didn't finish 4th. They finished 9th. They're out of a Europe spot. And that club was West Ham, and then they fell off a cliff because they had lack of talent and depth as the season went on. I think Nottingham will experience the same thing. I think it will be worse than 9th for them. Yes, it is crazy for me to think that a club in 3rd can soar down to 10th or 11th. But I think with the way it can go for Nottingham, it could get significantly worse for them as the season rolls on. Let's talk about their upcoming schedule, if I can find it. So, Nottingham. Which, by the way, I'm not discounting any of their wins. They've done so many things right. They get Newcastle, a trap game for them. They're going at Newcastle. They are going hosting Arsenal. Then they get to play Ipswich, free win. They have to play City, United, Aston Villa, and Tottenham, all in a month, by the way. Later in the season, they get a trap game with Bournemouth. They have Liverpool, like in a span of a couple of weeks. That run in December will tell us how good this Nottingham side is. They have to play City, United, and Aston Villa. Granted, both Manchester games are home match. I believe they play at. Okay, so here's their schedule from after the international break. At Arsenal, home to Ipswich, at Man City, at Manchester United, at home against Aston Villa. That's the stretch of games for them. You want to prove yourselves, Nottingham Forest? Prove to the world that you can come out here and go out and get results against United, who, yes, they had a manager change. We'll address that too. Man City and Arsenal. That would be fantastic results for them. And Aston Villa. Can't discount Unai Emery's Aston Villa side as well. But let's go into Manchester United because, well, they played over the weekend. They went out and drew Chelsea, which is fairly respectable for the situation they're in, which I don't know if I've mentioned this on this channel. They sacked Ten Hag, which Thank God, because if they had Ten Hag, they would have lost that game yesterday. Um, Man United went out and drew Chelsea under Ruud van Nistelrooy, and because Ruud van Nistelrooy, for some reason, they've hired a new manager from Sporting, um, which I knew they were going to go in for him. What's the guy's name? I forgot his name. Oh my god, it's too early for this. I'm recording this way too early time. I'm not fully awake. Um, it is Ruben Amorim, who I've seen him coach before. His tactics are really good. The question is the future of really Ruud van Nistelrooy. Is he going to be part of the staff long term? I don't know if he will be. Yes, he's going to be placed as interim manager, but what I like about Ruud van Nistelrooy is that he's like, yeah, I'll step back. I'll be the assistant manager. No problem, man. You big chilling. You can do whatever the hell you want. I respect the hell out of that by Ruud van Nistelrooy, because there's some people I believe would be like, oh, screw that. I'm out. Screw that. F that. I'm out of here. But Ruud van Nistelrooy says, nope, I'll stay. You just tell me what you need me to do. Will he stay? Who knows? But Manchester United go out and get a okay result for them. I mean, it's better than hell. They probably would have lost like 17-0 if that didn't happen. Other results that were significant: Tottenham plays Villa. Tottenham played Villa and won 4-1, led by Dominic Solanke. And there's a matchup today, which I'll maybe put the score underneath of, between Fulham and Brentford. A match that I don't think a lot of people are going to watch. I would have Fulham win. They're at Craven Cottage, but who the hell knows, honestly. So the Premier League, insanity. Champions League, we'll briefly address the matches because we're already taking way too long, as per usual with this channel. Matches to watch out for: Liverpool against Leverkusen. We should be posting this video around. This video might be out after Liverpool Leverkusen. I don't know, but that would be my matchup to watch tomorrow. Underrated game: Sporting hosting Manchester City, the first real test for City in the Champions League this year. Lille Juventus, another underrated match. Real Madrid and AC Milan is another top dog matchup. Milan needs to get something going in the Champions League. They've been really struggling. As for Wednesday, big matchup for Arsenal. I just mentioned before, they go at Inter Milan, which should be a very fun matchup. Other big game, PSG hosting Atletico Madrid at the Parc des Princes. Underrated games: the battle of the smaller clubs between Shakhtar and Young Boys. I think that game can be really, really good. But if you want the real underrated matchup, we are going to go with Stuttgart against Atalanta. Ademola Lookman and his side, they need to get something going. But the one big shocker for Atalanta and why I think they're going to win this game is Matteo Reteghi's rise. He's had a phenomenal season for Atalanta so far this season. If we take a look at his numbers, he has, I believe, almost double-digit goals. He has double-digit goals already in Serie A. 11 goals in 11 matches. That's something we don't really see in the Serie A this early in the season. We all thought it was going to be Ademola Lookman, who is top 15 at the Ballon d'Or. By the way, Rodri won it. I don't know if you've been living under a rock. But back to Retegui, 11 goals in 11 matches. He's found his way in on goal so many times. And he's been flying. He doesn't have a goal in the Champions League yet, but I think he could go out there and pick one up at Stuttgart, which is a tough out somehow. It's going to be fun. 11 goals, 3 assists. He's the player to watch if you want to watch Champions League on Wednesday. It's going to be entertaining, 100%, but who knows how that's going to end up. To the World Series. The World Series, the Dodgers won. The Yankees lose. That's music to my ears, chat. That is music to my ears. Every time I hear that, oh my God, the smile I put on my face. How can't you? How can't you have a big old smile from watching that match? Those games, not matches, those games. I called game 1. It was absolute insanity. I brought it up for game 3, how the expectation was that a certain pitcher would lock the F in and figure it out. And guess what, chat? I was right. Walker Buehler did lock in and go out there and get a result. I said it. Walker Buehler, bad start to the playoffs for him. He was going to lock in. I said about Jack Flaherty before the World Series. He locked in. He pitched a great game one. He sucked in game five, but not the point. I didn't bring up his possibility for game five, but game four happened. Bullpen game. They had to win one. Ain't no way the Yankees were getting swept. Luis Hill was not good, but the bullpen was great. And then we got to a great Wednesday night in New York, in the Bronx, New York. What an incredible turn of events. You do not see turns of events like this very often. What a bottle by the Yankees. I have to say it. That fifth inning, the amount of mental errors, the amount of mistakes proves to me that we all knew this team should have never have been in the World Series to begin with. And now, because of their incredible failure to do anything other than outside of game four in the first four innings of game five, ladies and gentlemen, they lose Juan Soto probably. Give it up for another year of failure by the Yankees. Unbelievable. How the hell did they screw this up? How does that happen? Juan Soto, like, he probably is gone, but oh my God, how does that happen? How does that happen? They had one job, and Juan Soto's now probably gone. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. One job, couldn't do it. Just like the Yankees defense in game five, if you know what I'm saying. The amount of questionable moves by Boone, I know fans are probably calling for his head again, which I think is stupid. They just made the World Series for crying out loud. It's music to my ears. It's frustration. I wish we could start playing the news over this segment, but I get demonetized and copyrighted, so we would be finished on this channel, which kind of ironic, isn't it? But in the end, it was a comeback by the Dodgers. 7 runs. 7 of the last 8 runs were scored by Los Angeles. And it was 2 sacrifice flies in the top of the 8th, and Walker Buehler locking it down in the 9th to give the Los Angeles Dodgers. I know I'm yawning because of the storyline and also because I'm tired, but the Dodgers win the World Series. It wasn't what I predicted. Not even close. And we'll go over the recap of the real quick. Actually, no, we'll go over the awards and season review when the awards come out in a couple and pretty soon. So just as a reference for that. But World Series goes to the way of the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Yankees, they tried and failed. The Dodgers inevitably won because I should have predicted the Dodgers from the start, but I thought they're going to bottle it to the Padres. Like a lot of other people thought that was going to happen. But then if you think about it, the Dodgers were heavily injured, had a injury-plagued starting rotation, and they still won. They have a World Series rotation on the injured list. How? I hate this so much. We're stopping. We're not talking about that matchup anymore. F that. Also, real quick, shout out college basketball returns on the night of the filming of this video. Iona basketball is back. Hopefully, we can go out there and beat Princeton. We probably won't, but who knows? Yeah, it feels good to have college basketball back. I'll give my predictions for college basketball hopefully soon because I don't have enough prep to give a full prediction for a Final Four right now. But maybe on Friday or next week we'll do that. Over to football. Oh, baby. The biggest storylines of another week of the NFL season. And the biggest storyline, without a doubt, this is so fun. I love this sport so much. The New York Jets. What a time to be alive. I'm kidding. They won. Apparently, CJ Stroud was seeing ghosts. The Jets on Halloween night were able to win a game. They won 21-13. It was an uncomfortable win, but we won in the end. Thank God. It's back-to-back years we've beaten Houston at home. I think it's 3 straight wins against the Texans for us. What were the biggest games from Sunday in terms of storylines and everything? We'll just rattle off the irrelevant scores first. The Chargers have been way better than I thought. They went out and beat the Browns, unsurprisingly. Joe Burrow went out and put on a clinic. He had 5 touchdowns in a win for the Bengals over the Raiders. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry also put on a clinic of their own, saving fantasy matchups for people around the country. The Ravens won by 31. We had an incredible matchup in the battle of tanking between the Panthers and the Saints. But in the end, Bryce Young and Chuba Hubbard were able to come out on top over Derek Carr and Alvin Kamara, which leads to our second bit of breaking news with the firing of Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen is out from the New Orleans Saints in unexpected, but expected at the same time. They had a lot of weapons. I don't know why I'm yawning so much. I feel like Saints fans throughout their whole season at this point. I'm yawning so much for how tiring it is to watch at that team. At least I feel I'm a Jets fan. I feel that New Orleans. My initial thoughts on this. To me, I didn't think it was going to happen this early. I thought it was going to happen much later, but I knew he was probably going to be out at the end of the season. It was a move that needed to happen, but I don't know how much better this team can be in the short term. Remember, they don't have Chris Olave. He just got his second concussion on the season already, and we're only like week 9? Like, how are we in week 9 already, man? This season's flying by. But on the flip, but for New Orleans, they needed to go a different direction, and they're able to go a different direction now that Dennis Allen is gone. Who will their future head coach be? No idea. And they did their special teams coordinator, I think, is their interim head coach. Hopefully he does something competent. But in the end, we will see. Other notable games, the Cowboys suck. They lost to the Falcons. The Titans and the Patriots played a very interesting game. I know on the last play of the game of regulation, Drake May found Ramondre Stevenson to make it 17-all. But in the end, it was a Nick Folk field goal and then a Drake May interception that ended the game. Titans win in overtime. Big win for the Buffalo Bills. They went out and played the Miami Dolphins, but a big second half from Josh Allen was the main reason why they went out and won. And a game-winning walk-off 61-yard field goal wins it for the Buffalo Bills. Tyler Bass, have a day, sir. 61. Back-to-back games, Miami have lost on a last-second field goal. The Dolphins and the Jets, the two teams I predicted to make the playoffs, are not even close to the Buffalo Bills now. Buffalo Bills team I projected to go under 500. What the F do I know? Because this team has performed way better than a lot of people expected. Buffalo Bills putting on a clinic. Oh, my God. They didn't really even use James Cook at all. It was just unexpected receivers. They did lose Keon Coleman. Hopefully he's okay. But regardless, Bills win again. What's their record now? Aren't they like 7-2 or other crazy results that occurred on Saturday? Well, the other NFL results at that. Big win for the Cardinals. They went out and shut it down Caleb Williams and the Bears. The Eagles went out and figured out a way in the end to hold off a late run from Jacksonville. The Rams and the Seahawks game we'll address in a moment. Big win for the Lions. They went out and destroyed the Green Bay Packers by 10 points on the road at Lambeau Field in a cold environment. Back to Rams Seahawks, a game I was not able to watch a lot of, but I was able to watch the end. It was a back and forth, bad turnover, but a really can't speak, man. Turnover by Seattle puts the Rams in front. It was a pick 6. But Geno Smith is able to come down in the end and a late touchdown to Jackson Smith-Njigba. He had 2 on the day. Gets this game to be tied. But it's the Rams who come out on top in the end. Big touchdown from Demarcus Robinson wins the game for the Los Angeles Rams. If we take a look at the NFC West, this division's a mess. NFC West, the Cardinals are in front with two teams at 4-4 and one team at 4-5. A Cardinals team I didn't have a lot of hope for this season is on top of the NFC West only for now. Finally, the big game on Sunday Night Football was a disappointment, but in the end, it was the Minnesota Vikings who were able to come out on top in the end. Josh Oliver and Josh Naylor and Jordan Addison able to catch touchdowns from Sam Darnold, who had, after an early turnover by the Vikings and the Colts, the Vikings were able to come out on top over Joe Flacco and the Colts, who are in a very much of a hodgepodge, like in between right now, because they don't know what direction to go, where they can be. It's a very weird spot for Indianapolis. Right now, they're 4-5. They're still going to be in the mix for the AFC South and a possible wild card spot, but they need to figure out their quarterback situation. They benched Anthony Richardson. If you look at Joe Flacco's numbers, he wasn't great. 16 of 27 for under 180 yards and one interception. Did not do a lot. That's going to be a question looking forward. What will the quarterback play look like for Indianapolis? Now, of course, we have Chiefs and Bucks. We're not going to predict that because this video goes out after the game. But let's go into my favorite story of the weekend. Formula One and a very, very wet Interlagos. One of the most chaotic circuits in Formula One today put on an absolute clinic of a weekend. Let's go right into it. So, during this weekend, of course, we had sprint race on Saturday and their main race on Sunday. And sprint qualifying was madness. In sprint qualifying, Piastri and the McLarens were flying. Lando Norris was flying. But in the end, it's Piastri who gets pulled ahead of Leclerc, Verstappen, Sainz, Russell, Gasly, Lawson, Alex Albon, and Ollie Behrman, who had a phenomenal weekend at this point, of course. But then we went to the sprint, and it was, in the end, a team order from McLaren gets Lando Norris the win. So he wins ahead of Piastri, then Leclerc, Verstappen, Sainz, Russell, and Gasly. Sergio Perez grabs a point ahead of Lawson and Albon. Really bad weekend from Hamilton. Hulkenberg crashed. He did not finish the race, which led us to torrential rain all throughout the weekend. This is where it got really bad, and it postponed qualifying to 5:30 a.m. Eastern time, 7:30-ish in Brazil time at the time in Brazil. And qualifying was absurd. We had in Q1, Hamilton was out in Q1, but then in Q2, because of a late crash, Verstappen, Perez, and Carlos Sainz were all out in Q2. In the end, it is Lando who got pole ahead of Russell, Yuki Tsunoda, Esteban Ocon, and Liam Lawson. This is not where the madness happens. Because if you remember, if you've paid attention to the weekend at all, Max Verstappen had a 5-second grid penalty for the main race. So he went into the race with Max Verstappen starting 17th. But he would get very fortunate with some things happening during qualifying and right before the race start. First of all, bad crash with Alex Albon, I think ended one of the sessions. He was not unable to partake in the race. He finished P7 in qualifying, was not able to take part in the race. We also had a spin. I don't even call it a spin. It was a lockup, and Lance Stroll beached his car. So we really only had 18 cars to start. It was a chaotic race start because after Stroll beached the car, the start was aborted, but the cars are usually supposed to stay there for the start, and the teams just go out and look at the cars again, maybe change the tires and all that. But no, that's not what happened. And Lando didn't get a penalty for that, but he probably could have. Which led us to the race itself. It was timing. Timing was the big theme of this, and it was a absolutely phenomenal drive when they needed him most. Max Verstappen won. followed by 2 Alpines. You had a feeling when you saw the forecast for this that absolute madness could ensue. Like Norris finished 6th, which he bottled it. The championship is pretty much done now. Max can clinch it with a points finish in Vegas, pretty much now. And disappointing weekend for McLaren. You go 6th and 8th is just not good enough. Makes the constructors championship all to play for now because Max is going to win the drivers championship again. For I believe is his 4th consecutive drivers championship, which equals Sebastian Vettel for the most consecutive championships won by a Red Bull driver, I think is what it is now. Because he won 10, 11, 12, and 13. Max is going to win 21, 22, 23, and 24. It's 4 straight championships. And with a car in the second half of the year, that was really, really bad. So, man, this season's been utter chaos, but Max has pretty much sealed the deal in the driver's standings. We'll take a look at those in a moment. But what are the other big headlines from the race? Other than McLaren bottling it, Alpine rising to the occasion, Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly, the highest finishes for in a while, especially for Ocon at Alpine. Remember, Esteban Ocon, who's leaving Alpine at the end of the season, he's going to be going to Haas. Of course, Ocon won a race for Alpine a couple of years ago at the Hungaroring when he was able to beat Hamilton in what started as a wet race, but then went to dries. It was pure madness. Of course, Pierre Gasly also has a win in Formula One at Monza in 2020 or around that time. So both of them have a race win experience, and they're able to show some of that chaotic experience, and they both were able to get points finishes. 33 points from the race alone for Alpine, a team that makes the run for P6 in the constructor standings even more to play for because you have VCarb, who've really struggled. You have Haas, who've been great for most of the year, a team I projected to be in last. And of course, Williams, who next season will be the dark horse team to watch out for because, of course, they have Albon and Carlos Sainz. But I actually want to stay on the theme of Williams real quick because the thing to watch out for as a fan that you can watch out for the rest of the season, what will be the deal with Franco Colapinto? Will he be part of the Mercedes-Williams teams next season? Who knows? We know Red Bull aren't certain with either of their driver lineups yet. We know that Sergio Perez might be out of a seat next year. And could they possibly replacing Colapinto? That's a big question. I know Sauber is the other brand that has a seat left. We know that at one point the leader for it was Mick Schumacher, but I don't think it's going to be that. It looks like it's going to be Gabriel Bortoleto, the driver who's driven with McLaren's younger teams. Looks like he has been will be the favorite and likely will land the seat with Hulkenberg. So they're going with the Brazilian Bortoleto, which means the only open seats left for next season are VCarb because they haven't confirmed Lawson yet, and it's going to be Red Bull. So both Red Bull teams are pretty much the only seats left in Formula One because we don't know what's happening with Perez. Since we don't know, those are the only seats left, and there's still some great drivers who don't have seats in Formula One yet. So we thought this could have been Teo Porcher. We could have thought it would be someone else, but the question will now be what happens with Colapinto, because when he came in, no one really knew what to expect from Franco Colapinto, and he's really proven a lot of analysts, and of course me, because that's what happens every time with this, wrong, because he's driven fantastically for the Williams team after they sacked Logan Sargent. So he's done really well for that team. But now that we know that Carlos Sainz is going to Williams, is there a possibility that Sainz's contract gets bought by Red Bull or something, and then he goes to Red Bull and the lineup that it currently is stays? I think it's possible that Colapinto will be driving for VCarb next year. I think that's a very big possibility. And then they would I would suggest moving up Liam Lawson and have Lawson drive with Verstappen. But I do think if they had to promote a driver, it would maybe be Yuki Tsunoda, even though I think that's a terrible move because he's been there longer, pretty much why. I'm not a big fan of Yuki Tsunoda. I never really have since I've been watching Formula One. But If we're going with seniority, you got to go with Sonoda. But if we're going for talent, I put Lawson in that Red Bull seat. If they were able to move Colapinto from Williams to, I think, well, V car, but the next year they're going to be called Racing Bulls, which makes no fucking sense. But that's a story for another time. F1 was madness. Premier League, Champions League, it's been chaos. Champions League, of course, being on today, and tomorrow will be very fun to watch. Also coming up very soon will be the international break preview. That's in I think 2 weeks. But all you need to know is it's very soon. And more announcements to come as the week goes on. That's the end of today's episode of the Robbie Basel Show. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Also, links down below are my social medias, as well as you can see the link from my ESPN broadcast if you want to go out and check it out. For now, I'm Robbie Basel, saying so long and enjoy your week. See you guys next time. Goodbye, everyone.